When I first auditioned for the character of Nissa, her code name on the page was actually Greta, and it was a scene with Oliver. So I walked in, and it's a very tumultuous scene about like, how dare you leave me, you're gonna regret this, and a scorned lover. So I do this scene, and they're like, perfect, can you come back in for a chemistry read? I'm like, yeah, sure. So on Monday they call me back in, and they're like, okay, so you're gonna do a chemistry read with this woman named Katie Lotz. I'm like, okay. When do you want to send me the new sides? And they're like, no, just use the same sides. Okay, well this is about like a scorned lover, so is she like my sister, is she my friend, like what's going on? They're like, no, just play it the same exact way. I'm like, is she a lesbian? We can't tell you that. Okay. So sure enough, I walk in on Monday and here's this beautiful blonde-haired woman with like these striking blue eyes, and she turns around and we just kind of look at each other and we're like, let's do this. So yeah, we got that part, and then I still didn't know what part I was playing because my character's name was still Greta. So I get the call and I'm like, yeah, you booked the role. And I'm like, sweet, what's the role? And they're like, we can't tell you. I'm like, oh my God. So then I think it was like 4 days later, TV Guide comes out with an article announcing that I booked this role. And like, she's playing, oh no. My friend Derek Crabb and I, and like all my like comic book geek fans or friends, we were like, what part could it be? We thought maybe it was Lady Shiva, just because she was supposed to be a little Middle Eastern, and like just the way they described her. And then TV Guide came out and they're like, you booked the part of Nissa. So then, of course, my friend Derek Crabb, who runs a podcast for comics, was like, Nissa, oh my God. So then he goes and does all this research, basically gives me the Cliff Note version of Ra's al Ghul, Talia, of Nissa, of the whole, like, Batman trilogy, like all that stuff that's going on with it, and kind of the whole breakdown, and that's how I did and got research about my character.
And, you know, a lot of it was made on Supergirl, and Alex Danvers came out as a lesbian and started her romance there. But, you know, Arrow paved the way for that. How do you feel about playing that kind of role with Katie, given, you know, the kind of audience that finds identification with heroes or lesbians or, you know, challenge people?
I love it. To be honest, I didn't have two thoughts about it. I just needed to know if I needed to flirt with Katie or treat her like a sister.
Right.
But I was like, I'll do either, I'm open. So.
But when you encounter fans at conventions and stuff, do they recognize you for that?
Yeah, you know, representation is everything on television. It's everything. For me, I'm married, I'm straight, I don't necessarily have, I've had the privilege of being able to grow up and see the types of relationships that I have on TV every single day, portrayed as normal, portrayed as acceptable, portrayed as just something that is not to be looked down upon or frowned upon or thought to be taboo. And I think love is love, and it's just wonderful that they're starting to portray the LGBTQ community as normal, and they're not giving them these weird backstories or long explanations as to why they're a lesbian or they're gay. It's like, no, we were just born that way, and this is who we are, and we don't need to know anything more than that. And I love that.
Since we're talking about the convention and the experience you're getting, you know, did you realize once you took this role that you were entering this whole other world?
I didn't know the extent of it. You guys are crazy. And I love it. So yeah, no, it's a great world of, speaking of LGBT, I have a family member who I married into who's a lesbian. She's very mad because she was very excited that there was going to be a lesbian character on television that was a superhero, and then she was so mad when she found out it was me, because she's like, now I can't even think about you like that. I'm like, poor can you? And that grosses her out, which is kind of funny. No, I knew that there was like a crazy fan base, but you don't understand how crazy and rabid this fan base is until you're in it. And then the best part is, it's infectious. So all of a sudden you're like, no, and then you get into these arguments that are like play arguments, and like one of my favorite things about Arrow is messing with Felicity fans. And they let me troll them, so they're fine with it too. And most of the time it's a lot of fun. Shannon! Hi! I haven't seen you since I missed her wedding because she didn't send me the invite in time. Whatever.
I do like your shirt. It says badass footboard.
Oh yeah. But yeah, the bands are great and I love it.
Now, Mrs. had her own art on Arrow. She guest starred on Legends of DC Universe. But you only showed up once last season. Any word if you'll be back?
No spoilers. Well, I would say there's a big chance I'm not dead, then even if you are dead. So
yeah, go back in time.
Yeah.
All right. Now you have done all these other parts and all these other venues that, well, research and prepare for this. I was just astonished because you're on Crackle, you're on Facebook Live. You did the CBS training days. These are like everywhere. Is there much of a difference in a primetime TV show like Training Day versus a Crackle show?
Yes.
Other than budget and food service.
Yes. The budget and food service are probably the biggest ones. No, there's a network television is a machine. It's been going on since the 50s. So they are this well-oiled, regimented. There's a time slot. There are numbers. If you don't have good ratings in the first week, even though nobody's ever even heard of your show can get canceled, which I think is very unfair. It's strict. And you have studios that have been established forever in Hollywood, and you go to WB Studios and you can be like, oh, this is where Humphrey Bogart and blah blah blah. And it's just this crazy kind of like you're getting seeped into a culture that's been around forever. Whereas with the Netflix and the Hulus and the Crackles and the new upcoming online services, it's kind of like the Wild West a little bit. You don't know where you're going to shoot. You don't know how it's going to be shot. They're really pushing the envelope. I do love the fact that they're only 10 episodes. Whereas like network is usually 20, 23 or something like that.
Well, the Crackle show deal, there is going to be a second season. Are you back for that?
Yes, we just wrapped the second season, and that's going to be coming out in March. We shot the first season in Puerto Rico. We had to evacuate both of the hurricanes of Maria and Irma. Mm-hmm. And then we went back a month after Maria basically devastated the island, and we wanted to finish up the show down there. And that was difficult, and a lot of the cast members and crew members, we volunteers with the Red Cross, so we really got to see the island firsthand. And guys, if you can, I know I'm making the biggest sales in Puerto Rico, but go down and visit, go vacation there. San Juan's up and running, it's still beautiful, the people are wonderful, and they need tourism, they need money. So if you can go support them, support your fellow Americans, and go vacation there, it's amazing. And Culebra is like one of the top 10 beaches in the entire world. So you get this like awesome white sand beach and blue water, sea turtles and stuff. So there's all sorts of stuff down there.
Now, the Facebook Live show, the fact that Facebook Live has its own programming is a novel concept, but there you're playing a very different type of role. You're an English teacher.
Yeah.
Which is what I am as well.
Really?
Yes.
Great.
Juniors and suburbs.
Oh. I'm sorry. Okay.
5 hours, 6 minutes a day I am.
Oh, God.
So, I mean, that's a very different type of role. So, what do you bring to that? Or how did you prepare to be something so different?
I felt like that was probably one of the closest roles to my real personality, where I just kind of get to goof off and be a moron most of the time. And has anybody seen Sacred Lies on Facebook?
Okay, so you want to tell them?
So basically, Sacred Lies is about this young girl who was raised in a cult, and she gets her hands chopped off, and you don't know why. So it's this whole mystery. You just find this the opening sequence is a chick with no hand, bleeding, standing over a bloody body, and you're kind of like, what is happening? So the premise is she was from this cult, had her hands chopped off, and then because they're trying to figure out why her hands are chopped off and why there's a body next to her, she gets sent into juvie. So you basically deal with juveniles in juvie, and then also you get the whole aspect. And my character is this really, really dark, kind of spooky, all the characters are really disturbed, and then my character is just like, hey, I'm this happy English teacher. And it really felt like I was filming a romantic comedy while everybody was doing this horror film. So it's like, you guys are sad and crying. Who wants to learn about like adjectives? So That's what it felt like. But it was a lot of fun.
And there'll be more, you think?
No, I think this is a one-off season because...
Okay, it
yeah.
resolves the story?
Yeah.
Okay. So, some other time we'll get you back to classes.
Yeah, maybe.
And Training Day, that was CBS, that was based on the movie Denzel Washington. You were an original character, that Detective Lee. What was that like doing a different type of primetime series compared to Arrow?
Well, I got to swap out weapons, so it was no longer bow and arrow, and going to the tactical range, and you know, I've dealt with guns before, and I've always gone to a shooting range, but being able to go to these tactical ranges where you're running and you're ducking behind tires, and then shooting at cars, and then shooting at car windows, and like shooting at like things that flip over, and then like running, and that's a lot of fun. It's a lot more fun than just going to a range and shooting at a piece of paper. And it's all very safe, so they teach you gun safety. They are very strict about gun safety. There's no horsing around. There's no waving a gun. This would never happen. So they're very, very safe. And then of course you get on set, you have these actors who haven't trained, and they're just, they're like pointing the gun at their own head, shooting themselves. I'm like, what are you guys do? Oh God. It honestly makes me want to vomit a little bit, so, yeah.
Okay. It's a shame the show got canceled before you really got to do much with your character. I'm sure there's more to tell.
Yeah, the whole ending of the show was a little...
Sorry. So, you talked about all the weapons and stuff, and yet in one interview I read, you're known as the klutzy one in your group. Is that a problem on set?
Sometimes. But editing is a wonderful thing.
Okay. And you mentioned it earlier, you sang, and you do have a band, you've done some recording.
Yes.
Right? Are you doing anything with the group now?
So I'm in a band called Soundboard Fiction. I sing and I write the lyrics, or most of the lyrics. I used to play the bass until we got a better bass player, which is perfectly acceptable. And we have a CD that's coming out, I think, in 1 or 2 weeks. So it'll be available on iTunes soon, and yeah.
Check your Twitter feed, she'll tell you.
Yeah.
Okay, and you're also involved in some philanthropic work. Do you want to talk about that? Let people know what else is your support?
So the ongoing one that's been happening for, I don't know, 6 years now or something is Kid Crusaders, and that's an animal rescue in Los Angeles. They focus primarily on cats, but they've also saved horses and dogs and hamsters and whatever happens to come their way. And the way that started was, I was living in this house and I was broke. We had 4 alley cats, and we would feed them every day, you know, do whatever, and I had 2 cats of my own, but then 2 of the cats ended up getting really sick, and one of them got stomatitis. Stomatitis is where your body thinks your teeth are foreign objects and it starts to dissolve them. So it's a really painful thing, and it dissolves them down to the nerve. So I knew that this cat was dying, but I couldn't afford the surgery for this cat, and you feel terrible because, you know, you don't want to watch an animal suffer. So my friend was like, oh, it's okay, if you can trap them, we'll take care of them. So they took this cat in, paid like $2,000 for this surgery. The cat ended up living another 7 years. And I was like, I can't repay you. And like, no, it's fine, this is what we do. And I thought that was so beautiful that they were just willing to take care of this cat. And I was like, how do I give back? Because then I found out that they were about $47,000 in debt out of their own pocket for this charity. And I'm like, whoa, that's a lot of money. And so I ended up getting together with some Spartacus cast members and being like, hey, how do you guys feel about posing with cats? And then, you know, we can sell them online, we can sign them, and then pretty much all the money from that goes directly to paying the vet bills and the foster care bills. And since then, you know, Trisha Helper, she's here, she's posed with it. A lot of the Arrow cast members have done it. Katie Lotz and I did one together. Candace Patton from The Flash has done it. We've gotten, I can't even remember his name right now, but from American Gods. Yeah, so we've gotten a lot of people involved, and it's been going on for about 6 years, and I'm pretty sure we've raised close to like $60,000.
Nice.
So, no, you can only get them online. Yeah, just because it's just easier that way to make sure that the money goes directly to the charity, and you don't have to like trust me to give it to them and blah, blah, blah. So it's just easier that way. And then I don't have to like carry around pictures. I'm super lazy. And then another one that I just got involved with is Bill Dog. So last year we did a fundraiser in Chicago where we called Charity Sunday, and all proceeds, other than what I had to pay out to my agencies, went directly to build on. And we were raising money to build 3 schools, one in Malawi, one in Nepal, and one in Haiti. And it paid for all of the supplies, and then all of the workers that stayed on after we left to continue on, like construction workers and the foremen and all that other stuff. And then it also helps pay for 10 inner city schools, or 10 inner city kids from an American school to go down to Haiti to start to build up their own schools. So not only are you helping your own American kids, you're also helping internationally. So it's a really beautiful combination, and the mix of culture is just always great for anybody to experience. So I ended up going to Nepal, building a school there. I was supposed to go to Malawi this summer, but I couldn't because I was working on the oath in Puerto Rico, but the money still landed and the school's being built, so they didn't really need me there anyway. And right now we're just trying to finish up the last of the fundraising for the kids that are going to go down to Haiti, because we pay for their airline, we pay for all their vaccinations, we pay for their passports, and the way that they get picked is they have to have a certain GPA, they have to come from a certain low-level income family, and then they have to do a certain amount of community service and then write an essay. So it's a wonderful message of you don't have to have money, you don't have to come from means in order for people to notice you, support you, and to get you out to do something good for the world. And I think that's a beautiful, beautiful message.
No question about that. Why don't we open things up for questions? The microphone's over here if you guys want to queue up for that. Meantime, while you're getting up there, is there anything else we haven't talked about that you've got coming up?
Nope.
Are there other types of parts you would like to play? Other types of characters?
I would love to be in a period piece and wear like Elizabethan costume and clothing and do that whole thing, but I don't know if they ever need a half Asian girl during that time period, so I don't think it's gonna happen. But if they did, I'm available.
All right, yes ma'am.
Hi. So I'm a big Spartans fan.
Hello.
And I was curious, the dialogue for that show, when you're saying things like, break mine and spill, break head and spill what weighs mine. Like, is that difficult on that show, like to spit that kind of stuff out? And also, for the show, did you have to go through your own version of like the gladiator boot camp where you're like turning from like Mirror the Slave to like Mirror the Resistance fighter?
So we did have a boot camp, and the boot camp was probably one of the best memories I had, because it really is a bonding experience, especially for season 2, because we did have a lot of new cast members, and that was a great way to kind of be like, hi, this is our world, this is our show, I'm gonna now carry you on my shoulders across the room. So it's a great way to bond, but it was really difficult because it lasted for 4 weeks, and after about the first day, you suddenly realized you couldn't move because you were so sore, and then you had another 3.5 weeks to go. But you started off the first 4 hours with gut drills and just training and like sledgehammers and tipping tires and carrying people back and forth, and then you had a little lunch, and then you came back for another 4 hours of learning choreography with swords and knives and whatever the weapon was that you had to use. So that was a lot of fun. And then when it came to the dialogue, yeah, the dialogue was always fun and it was always interesting. And sometimes you'd be messing up a line because you're not used to speaking that way. The words coming out of your mouth, sometimes you would say them and be like, I have no idea what I just said. And then you would kind of like look to somebody and be like, did I say that right? Or whatever. I was gonna tell you a story, but now there are children here, so we'll skip that one. But like, Spartacus was X-rated, so we're not gonna go into those. But yeah, saying the dialogue was a lot of fun, but it also just, it made you really feel like you were acting and you weren't a part of this time period or this world, and it just really transported you.
Thank you.
The Huntress is here.
Yes. Or I'm sure. Obviously. My thing was, I've seen a couple of different error panels on YouTube, and a common thread among them was apparently everyone from the cast seemed to have a Barrowman story. That,
I think everybody in this audience has a Barrowman story.
Yeah. Well, I said, be it Stephanie or name escapes me right now, but Diggle, that normally the take has gone south, that one of the Barrowman's antics isn't too far away. I was wondering if, being your ties to the league and his ties to the league, if you've been on the business end of one of Barrowman's
prank on me. I'm normally part of the prank that we're playing. So, like, we had a whole cupcake series where, you know, Nissa was trying to eat a cupcake and Barrowman kept slapping it out of her hand or whatever food that she was trying to eat. So it was little stupid things like that. I can't tell you the story because there are children present, but he told me a story on set right before we were about to start rolling that had me literally gagging, like dry heaving, gagging, and laughing so hard because it was so disgusting. And then we had to start rolling, and I'm like, it was like, oh my god. But I'll tell you my favorite Barrowman story. So, and it comes from a fan who told it to me at another con. So there's this fan was in the bathroom stall doing his business, and there was another fan who was at the urinal doing his business, and the guy at the urinal was dressed as the Green Arrow. So he was, you know, doing his deed, and the fan that told me the story comes walking out of the stall just in time to see somebody run up to the guy doing his business dressed as Arrow, go, "You have failed the city," and then run away. And the guy is at the urinal basically going like, what? And the man's like, you know that was John Barrowman, right? So basically that's John Barrowman in a nutshell. So, and I love that story.
I was just wondering what your most favorite memory from your time at Spartacus.
One of my favorite memories? Okay. So in season 2, for about 3 months, we have the Roman side and then we have the Rebel side. And pretty much, if I didn't meet the people who were playing the Romans in season 1, I had no idea who they were. I never saw them, I never worked with them, we never did scenes together. They'd be like, oh, we did the scene with blah, 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 blah. I'm like, ooh. And they were like a main character. So I had no idea what was happening on that side. But on the Rebel side, for about 3 months, I was the only female in about a group of 20 gladiators. You learn a lot about men. Things you don't ever want to know, you learn it, and you remember it, and you're scarred by it. So we had a scene that lasted about a month where we were covered in this like mud slime stuff because we were going into the mines to save Nadia. This chick who was stolen and like forced to work into the mines, and she's the girlfriend of one of the gladiators, so we're like, we have to go save her. But the scene lasted forever, and they would just cover us in this stuff. I don't even know what it was, but you put it on you, and then it would start to harden, and you could feel it ripping your skin, and it would rip off your hair, and it was really, really uncomfortable. So it became this game for the boys that whoever could rip off the dingleberry from their armpit that had the most hair attached to it won. I don't know what they won. But this became a game. So you would see these grown men and like covered in this mud stuff in diapers, basically like sitting there like, ha, 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 and they would have like 10 pieces of hair, and somebody would have 15. They'd be so proud of themselves. So this is what you dealt with all the time. But one of my favorite memories is we had this like disgusting little river that they built that when we first started was like clear and warm, and then by the end of it was kind of like this pinkish brown and cold. So it was just like nobody wanted to touch it. But there was this little tiny like foot wide river going through these like mud caves that they built for us. And I'm standing there, and there's about 10 gladiators in front of me, and they all start giggling. And I'm just like, what are they laughing at? What is happening? And I'm just like stupid little boys. And I'm like, God, what is going on? And then all of a sudden I hear, plop, plop. And I finally realized that there's another gladiator standing behind me, dropping rocks from in between my legs to make it look like I was pooping into the river. And I'm like, oh my God. So these are some of my favorite memories. It was just like, just boys being stupid. So yeah.
Thanks very much.
Juvenile delinquents, all of them.
Hello, Abigail.
Hello.
Basically, as fans, we go to conventions, you get to geek out meeting our favorite celebrities. So I was wondering, you go to a lot of conventions, have you ever geeked out meeting a celebrity, or if not, who would you geek out?
I geeked out hard over Captain Janeway. Chicote.
Yeah.
So yeah, but then I signed a picture. I don't know if she was that happy to take a picture with me, but I was stoked.
Thank you.
Any other questions? Well, you've shot around the world. You've shot in Puerto Rico, you've shot in New Zealand, you've shot in Canada. Is there a favorite location that you've visited?
I loved Budapest. Shooting there wasn't my favorite, but Budapest city is so beautiful. So if you guys ever get a chance to go, it's like the whole city. It's it got bombed and a lot of it was ruined by the war. But then basically they rebuilt it. They did a great job of rebuilding. But I think the thing that makes it so special is one, the architecture is amazing, but the entire city is lit in this white gold light, and it's uniform. So it's not like Tokyo or New York or something like that where there's like random colors, everything you just look at it, it just looks like this pristine golden city that's just illuminated in the night, and then you have the river that's going through it, and it's just absolutely wonderful and beautiful. So if you guys ever get a chance to go there, that's amazing. New Zealand was super cool. If you guys are into the outdoors, it's phenomenal. It's, you know, you can find different things like that around the rest of the world, but what makes New Zealand so cool is that everything is compact. So you can kind of like see all of the places within a week and not have to travel to different states or to different countries to see it. Again, Puerto Rico, love Puerto Rico. There's just something magical about it, and just being able to run a Jeep and drive all over the island and just kind of eat ganetas and swim in this beautiful water is amazing. So you definitely need to go down there. And then Vancouver is just a cool city. I've been really lucky. I feel like there's like really cool places. Maybe like some of the little like backhill places in the US where you're just bored because you've seen it before. Maybe that's, I don't appreciate those as much, but at the same time, I like being on location, so I'm never gonna complain.
A number of the actors wind up wanting to get behind the camera. Do you see yourself producing and directing that work?
Not directing. There's definitely a mentality that you have to have that I don't necessarily have. I think as a director, you have to be so opinionated and so, I don't know, secure, even if there are the wrong decisions about what your decision is, and I just don't have that quality. So, you know, I can look at something and be like, well, this is my opinion, but I could be wrong. I'm a Libra, by the way. So I feel like I'm just like, yeah, you know, there's this side and then there's this side and maybe. So I don't think I can do that. I'm also just too much of an airhead for that and unorganized, but I definitely want to produce, so.
If there are projects you think you want to bring to the screen?
Yeah, I'm in the process of helping somebody write something right now, and then I don't want to act in it, and I don't want to direct in it. I actually want to be a part of the writing and produce it.
Yes, ma'am.
So first, since I just got back from Budapest, I wholeheartedly agree with that. You have to visit, you have to visit. I'm interested in the last number of your roles have been on other types of networks, a lot of these new networks. And I'm curious how that is different for an artist, maybe how that's playing into how you sort of see your future career, and how you see that impacts us as viewers.
I think there's a beauty about something like Netflix, Hulu, and Sony Crackle where it's only 10 episodes. Because I don't know about you guys, but I don't have time to sit down and watch 23 episodes of television. Like, I love, like, if I do have a weekend after this craziness, you do want to just sit down and binge watch a show and just have it be done. And I know that there have been a couple times where people are like, oh, you need to watch this show. And I'm like, how many episodes is it? And mentally, it's already too much of a commitment. And I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing, or if I'm just a product of a generation where I'm like, I want everything immediately. But also, I think there's this beautiful thing about 10 episodes or 13 episodes versus the network where there's no fluff. It is hard, compact storytelling. They know what the story arc is before. Like, for instance, on shows like Arrow or Training Day, they're writing the scripts as they go. It's a long season. There's no possible way that they can have all 20-some scripts written and done. So they kind of, there's a lot of give and take. The storylines won't work because all of a sudden an actor is sick, or an actor, like a recurring character that they want isn't available, or, you know, whatever it is, or, you know, something happens in the political world that suddenly, like, we can't actually air this anymore. But with the 10 episode, I want like these crazy short stories, or if you want kind of like the long loan, like it's just up to you. I think it just offers more variety.
We've got time for at least one or two more questions. We'll start with the gladiator.
Which of your stunts on Spartacus did you have the most fun doing?
So it was sort of two of them. One was in episode 4 of season 2, and we call it the Flying Squirrel Monkey. And basically, Nadia's gotten kidnapped, and we're running through the woods, and there's this gladiator, a Roman soldier, who's trying to, like, I don't know, hurt her, kill her, or whatever he's trying to do. And basically, you see my character just kind of like fly out of nowhere and take him down. And we did it in 4 takes, but the first time, well, when we did it in stunt rehearsal, there's a guy who's just wearing sweatpants and a t-shirt. So when basically I run, I do this kind of like jump onto him, I wrap my legs around him, and I'm holding onto his neck, and I'm basically like stabbing him to death, and then we both fall over. And when we were rehearsing it, it was totally fine because he's wearing sweatpants, I'm wearing sweatpants, we all fall into a crash pad, and then on the day, he's kind of dressed a little bit like you, except with more metal, more weapons, more hardened leather gear. So by the time I got done, my inner thighs were just bruised because I was trying to like wrap onto this gear, and I was like, oh, this is so much more painful than rehearsals. But then they were like, you know what? You're jumping too low. Can you like jump more towards like the shoulder and face area? But they didn't tell me that I was gonna do that. And I just remember like we'd done it, like rehearsed it, and then did like 2 takes, and on the 3rd one I was like, all right, let's jump higher. And just the look on his face, you know, interesting things ensued. But then, you know, when we crashed to the ground, like he was like, "Are you okay?" I'm sorry. He was like, "Ah." So that was fun. And then later, there's when the gladiators, no, when the rebels decided they needed to unite the camp, and they had the face-off fight between the opposing, and I got to fight Ellen Holman. We had so much fun with that fight. Like we rehearsed it for a long time, and that was the one day all of a sudden I had a stunt double show up, and I was like, no, today's not the day. You sit back down. I'm doing this entire day, and we had so much fun. So yeah, just doing stunts in general in sports. This was a lot of fun. Again, it's easy to do stuff that you're not normally allowed to do.
Hi, love your character on Arrow. Sometimes watch it the second time. As I watch it, sometimes I'm actually just listening the second time around. And as I'm sitting here and I was listening to your voice, and I heard you mention about podcasting, and there's a big renaissance going on with audio dramas. I don't know if you've ever thought about doing something in the podcasting world, because you got a great voice for that.
Oh, thank you. I've never had that compliment before. I'm usually told my voice is high and whiny and too much like a Jersey person.
Well, you stand out. For sure, you don't want to sound like that.
No, I've never thought about doing a podcast. I will think about it now.
There's a lot of great stories we can tell.
Thank you.
Well, you know, these days with audiobooks and audio dramas, opportunities may present themselves.
Yeah.
Right.
Thank you.
Any other questions for Ms. Long? Otherwise, thank you for being here. Thank you for your questions and your attention.